Welcome to Hockey Nights in Vegas. My name is Eddie Rivkin. I'm joined as always by Joe Payne. This episode is presented as always by the Las Vegas Advisor, Anthony Curtis's Las Vegas Advisor, www.lasvegasadvisor.com, the go-to place for everything Las Vegas. Joe, today's episode is going to be called The Good, the Bad, and What the Fuck Happened Last Night at the Fortress.
Yeah,
So
what did happen?
So we'll start off with the good. The Golden Knights went on another extended road trip through Columbus, Pittsburgh, Detroit, and
Boston.
And while you were off working in your tan in parts unknown in Central America, I was being a road dog and actually attended the Detroit and Boston game. But that road trip produced 6 out of 8 points. And anytime I think you get 6 out of 8 points on a road trip, you have to say it's a pretty positive thing. There were some little bounces,
some blown leads,
bumps in the road, but we'll get to those. But all in all, 6 out of 8 points, 10 out of 10 points in the previous road trip. The Golden Knights are 12-2-1 on the road, basically the same as the New Jersey Devils. They're a fantastic road team.
Oh,
any
you're talking
idea
about
why?
the Devils or the Vegas Golden Knights?
I'm talking about the Vegas Golden Knights.
Oh, okay. They should position the NHL to play all the games on the road.
Yeah, but why are they so good on the road?
I think they try to overperform at T-Mobile. They try to put on a little bit of a show, and Vegas is known as the show capital of the world, and I think the Golden Knights players think that they got to put on a show. They're very work-like on the road. They have a mission. They're going to play ABC hockey, and they've been successful this year, having one of the 2 best road records in the league. And yet, when they come to T-Mobile, where when this franchise first started, teams were just having trouble winning at T-Mobile. Now it seems to be the opposite way. The Golden Knights have only 13 games. They've only won 7, lost 6 games at T-Mobile. That's unheard of. That would probably be their record should be reversed as far as home ice and on the road. They should be 12-2-1 at T-Mobile, but they're not. They're 7-6, and that's the problem. If you ask me what the problem is, I don't know. Other than I think they just try to be a little bit too fancy at T-Mobile.
It's just so hard to figure out. Like you said, the first year, the Fortress was impenetrable. Sorry for the terrible, war joke. But, I mean, I think you're probably right. I mean, I think that maybe there's just no distractions on the road.
None.
I mean, they stay in a hotel. They eat a lot of meals together as a team. It's a business trip.
Exactly. And there are no family distractions. There are no friends asking for tickets. It's just work. Like when they're on the road, it's all about hockey.
But they have to be better at home. But this road thing, and the Detroit game was a game they should have won, and they dominated, and they did win. Now the Boston game, I don't know about you. You're from New York. It was my first time in Boston ever for anything.
I've been there a couple of times. Good town.
And I got to tell you, those are some angry fucking people.
Where, in Boston?
They at the Garden and outside the Garden. So I stay about a block and a half from the arena, literally a 5-minute walk, even for me. So I'm walking to the arena, and they have a little plaza. It's nowhere like Toshiba Plaza. It's 1/20th of the size. It's where the Bobby Orr statue is.
Okay.
Right? And that's sort of their marshaling point. Everybody goes in the arena, up the escalators and stuff like that. So I'm walking through there, and I don't have anything Golden Knights on. My media pass is tucked inside my coat, right? And these people were just angry. I mean, this
is before the game.
This is before the game.
When they were like, 14-0 at home, right?
They hadn't lost the game at the Garden since April of this year. But these people were they were drinking. Like if you go to the Toshiba Plaza before a Knights game, it's a party. and it's fun, and everybody's jazzed about going to the hockey game. This was an angry mob of black and gold people. And
Really
now
interesting.
I thought it was funny, right? And it was even funnier when I came out after the game and they were still out there. And it was the Barbarian Horde. You would have thought that they got beat the way the Golden Knights got beat last night by the Rangers. They lost the game where they came back from down 3-0, right? And a deep shootout. But it was the two best teams in each conference, the Bruins and the Golden Knights. And it was a fantastic hockey game. There were ebbs and flows, and there was all kinds of drama, and all of that with the backdrop of Coach Cassidy coming back to Boston. But I got to tell you, there are generations of people in Boston whose parents didn't love them because they're just angry. I mean, they're angry for no reason. I mean, I get it. It's cold outside. But you made the decision to stand out there in the cold and just get angry amongst yourself. I thought it was fantastic theater. They were like a horde of ancient warriors getting ready to go to battle before the game.
Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not sure even how to respond to this.
I'm not sure how to respond. I don't know where I was going, but it was just an observation that I had from the road that they were pretty miserable. It was pretty miserable for them. And yeah,
I think you might have. I mean, Boston's a pretty good town. I think you might have caught them on an off day.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe you were having an off day.
No, I never have off days.
I'll stop now.
Never. I'm the nicest, most humble guy ever.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
Okay.
back to the game itself. I mean, they were shot out of a cannon. That was the best first period they played all year. The best period of hockey they played all year. You would agree? Against Boston.
Especially Paul Cotter.
I mean,
he could have had 3 goals in the first period.
I mean, he's 23 years old. He's got less than 20 games in the NHL. Jack Eichel gets hurt, and we'll talk about that when we get to the bad section. They say, okay, kid, go ahead and play with Stoney and Stevie, right?
A golden opportunity for the kid, by the way.
Right? And we've said all along, and listen, you know Paul Cotter's my guy, right? I've been on that horse since the first exhibition game. They give him a shot, a minute 43 in, snipe, and they're up 1. 56 seconds into the second period, 1 stick tap, a pass, snipe, and they're up 3-0, right? But you had to know that Boston wasn't just going to roll over.
There was going to be a pushback. There was going to be a pushback,
right? And there was pushback, and it was a fantastic hockey game. And the Golden Knights are a fantastic road team, right? But we have to go to the bads. They're 2-5 in the last 7.
At the T-Mobile. Oh, the T-Mobile, yeah.
Yeah, and not against elite company. I just, Coach Cassidy says it's on him to motivate his players. And he spoke a little bit after the pregame skate yesterday about the difference in travel being in the Eastern Conference, where it's, Montreal to Toronto, Toronto to Ottawa to
It's they don't travel as much as the teams in the Western Conference do.
Right. And the
separation is vast in the Western Conference.
Do you think that maybe the compact nature of the schedule has something to do with it? They got 16 games in 31 days in December.
Yeah, they played a lot, and we always there's always this the first game back on a road trip traveling through 3 time zones,
and we've seen that twice in a row now.
Right? Yeah, but you know what? Both teams had the same exact schedule. The Rangers played on Monday night on the East Coast, as did the Vegas Golden Knights. They both traveled the same distance across the country.
Yeah, but
they both played
New York. But New York was at home, and Vegas was on the end of a 9-day road trip. So I think there's a discernible difference there.
Yeah, but they still played a game on the same day. They still traveled the same distance. So I think you need to take a little bit away from that theory that it's the first game back from a road trip. Normally, when they come back from road trip, the team they're playing is already here in Vegas waiting on them, which is
Yeah,
a
like
huge advantage.
St. Louis,
Like St.
was.
Louis that when they came back from that road trip. But last night, the both teams were playing under the same conditions, in my opinion, and Vegas laid an egg. I mean, the Vegas made the Rangers have been struggling lately too. They've been up and down, and there are people already calling for Gallant's head in New York already, which I think is ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Ridiculous. I mean, Saskatchewan, his numbers are good, but they're a little bit of a drop off from last year where he was just incredible. Yeah, there was no upside to his numbers. It had to be either he played tremendous like he did last season, took him all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, or there was going to be a little bit of a drop off, and it's a little bit of a drop off, but he's still probably one of the top 5 goaltenders in the league. And last night he played well, but and you and I looked at each other when we looked at the shot clock halfway through the game. The Vegas Golden Knights had 9 shots on goal.
10.
9 or 10 shots on goal with half the game being played already.
They had 5 in the first and 4 in the third and 17 in the second.
And the 17 that they got in the second was in the final 9 minutes of the second.
Right. I mean, I am flummoxed. I can't for the life of me figure out how this team in front of a raucous crowd every night isn't playing better at home. I mean, I understand, Bruce Cassidy said in other years when you would come back from when a West Coast team would come back from a long East Coast road trip, if they came back on Monday, they wouldn't play again until Thursday. They would sort of have that extra day. They would have 1 day off,
the travel
and then
day,
a practice,
and then a day off.
So they would have a little bit sort of more of a stretch time in between games, but not that that's an excuse, and it's probably a valid point, especially across 3 time zones, like we've sort of talked about here. But this is inexplicable to me. Besides unacceptable, obviously, they can't be a 500 team at home and go anywhere. Especially if they're leading the Western Conference and they would have home ice advantage.
Exactly.
Pretty much through the playoffs if things were to end as they are.
Right.
But the other sort of disturbing trend is they have blown a number of 2-goal leads. All 4 games on the recent road trip, they've been up 2 goals. And they blew a 2-goal lead in the third period, I believe, against Pittsburgh and lost the game. The other 3 games they won, but
they blew a 3-goal lead in Boston. Boston got back into the game.
Right, but the disturbing trend is they're not holding leads. I think the little caveat to that is that seems to be league-wide. If you go deep into the minutia of statistics, the number of 2-goal leads is up. There was a 3-goal lead up. Vancouver erased a 4-goal lead a couple of nights ago. And, we were watching part of that Buffalo Columbus adventure last night. Buffalo was up 6-0. And I'm thinking, come on, Columbus, let's go 7 unanswered. No, it didn't work out that way. But do you think that just maybe the fact that scoring is up so significantly and the offense in the league is up fairly significantly, you think that's the reason?
Is creating these comebacks?
You think that's the reason?
I don't know. My opinion is that whenever a team gets down, the team that's ahead historically kind of takes their foot off the gas a little bit, and the team that's behind realizes that they're going to step things up a little bit. And I think that happens a lot. I think that happens recently with the Vegas Golden Knights. They got up 3-0 in Boston, and they were like, "Oh, boy, this is going to be easy." And then Boston's too good of a team to kind of take your foot off the gas, and they wound up tying it. And then I think was it a seven player shootout to finally end that game.
I think that Boston game, I thought they were in good shape until they gave up the bad goal at the end of the second period. When Boston scored with 20 seconds to go in the second, I said this might not work out well.
Well, you know, to talk about giving up leads and this and that, I think one of the problems with the Vegas Golden Knights, and Cassidy has made reference to this, is that their goaltending has kind of come back a little bit to where it should have been. I mean, when they started the season, both Thompson and Hill were playing. I don't say way above the heads, but they were performing well.
Well above expected.
Well above expected. And now the other teams are scoring 3 and 4 goals on them. So it's not an easy ride anymore. And I think that's a little bit of what's going on with the Vegas Golden Knights. But it's unacceptable to only be one game over 500 at T-Mobile. That's just crazy. If you're 12-2-1 on the road, there's no reason to be 7-6 at T-Mobile. No, none whatsoever.
I mean, yes, I think we expected some regression as far as statistically from the goaltending, but I think that is a mix of the goaltenders. And we talked about it in the report card episode. Their defensive zone coverage is not great. They aren't operating as a unit yet, and they're not breaking out the puck well. And I think that's leading to more high danger shot attempts against than Coach Cassidy is probably comfortable with.
Yeah, when you're turning the puck over just inside your blue line, you're creating a situation where your forwards are looking to break out. You turn the puck over, the other team has a huge advantage because the other player, the forwards who are looking to break out, have to turn around and come back.
Right.
So they're behind the play to begin with.
Right. So you have a huge numerical advantage.
Yeah, they have numerical advantage and position advantage. And Vegas has always from day one been noted about having their stretch passes breaking out of the zone. But over the last year and a half, 2 years, that seems to have gotten away from them. And I know you kind of were hard on a defenseman in our last episode about
it was the defense in general.
It's a unit of 5, Eddie. When you're breaking the puck out,
right?
It's a unit of 5, and the forwards have to be more responsible, especially on the half wall when the defenseman wraps the puck around and gets it up. And their job is to get that puck on the half wall and then freely move it out, and that hasn't been the case. And
that's been a huge problem.
Yeah,
right. And not to listen. I mean, Mark Stone had a rough night last night.
Oh,
in Boston, Keegan Colasar had a terrible game. Right? He had at least 3 turnovers on that exact same play. It's supposed to be set up as the puck comes around on the wall. The forward has 3 options: to chip it up, right, around a defenseman, hopefully, to go across to a breaking center coming up through the middle of the ice, or turn and flip it as an escape valve kind of thing. Right? Those are supposed to be his 3 options on a puck coming up the wall. They're not doing any of those well.
No.
I mean, the amount of turnovers that we've seen within 10 feet of the blue line it's been astronomical. I mean, I know that's not a stat, right? But we watch the games and we watch them. We're fairly observant. 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 times a game. I don't know if they're making the wrong decision by chipping it up the wall, but it's not clearing the zone. And that immediately turns into momentum, like you said. The other team is playing downhill toward the Golden Knights net,
right.
And they have a numbers and, like you said, a numbers and a positional advantage. Something is wrong with that specific link in the breakout chain on the walls.
Would you prefer the forward to up on the half wall? Would you prefer the forward facing the wall or facing the center of the ice when he's taking the puck? Because it seems to be if you're facing the wall, your options to get the puck out are greatly reduced because you're kind of at this point subject to only chipping it out off the wall and out, up the glass and out. If you're facing the other way or you're in a little bit of better position, I believe you give yourselves more options. The opposing forwards don't know what you're going to do, because if you're facing, basically back towards the net, you have the option of either going to a forward coming through the middle or chipping it back. But when you're immediately facing the boards, he knows you don't really have that many options, and they're closing in on them quickly, and the puck doesn't get out of the zone.
Your point is well made. There's only one significant difference to the two scenarios that you put forward. When the forward is facing the wall, he receives the puck up the wall on his stick. If he's turned the other way with his ass to the boards, facing the ice, open to the ice, he's got to take the puck off of his skate to his stick. So there's one incremental 3 or 4 foot difference in that. So if it goes up the wall and his back is to the wall, he's playing the puck with his stick. First touch is with his stick. It can't be that way if he's ass to the boards, right? He's got to go skate to stick and make that, almost immediate decision as well. So your point is well made, but they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing well, and not even well. They're doing it poorly, I would say.
My question to you was, where would you prefer the forward to be positioned? Would you like him to be positioned a little bit away from the wall?
So I'd like him to be a little bit farther down,
top of the face-off circle.
Yeah, I'd like him to be a little tiny bit further down, so that it's a more difficult decision for the D-man to pinch.
Right, and what he can do if the forward's in that position, he can also throw the puck back to the defenseman.
Right, and reset it.
That way, as opposed to once you're high, and your point is well taken, once you're high on that wall, you're not going to throw the puck back, because then But if you're
surrendering.
Exactly. If you're halfway at the top of the circle, you kind of have two options there. And you kind of slow the forechecker down, because he's not sure, are you going to go up the wall or are you going to go back with the puck? When you're high up, he knows that you're only going in one direction, and he can close that avenue off for you.
And if you add that 5 or 10 feet that I'm suggesting that they come down closer to the top of the circle, right? That defenseman now has a serious decision to make, because if he pinches, he's got to skate an extra 10 feet toward the Golden Knights net, which makes the chip by him on the wall a much more viable play for the Golden Knights.
And this is how the 2-on-1s develop.
Right, exactly.
When one defenseman gets caught.
And they're a fantastic transition team. So if I was the coach, I would move the wall forward, F3, a little bit down toward the top of the circle. Just to create more difficulty for the forechecker.
You give the forward more options too,
and you give the defenseman, and you give the forward an inch more time, right? Because the defenseman's got to skate a little further if he decides to make the pinch. It seems to me that it's a tiny little tweak that could make a great deal of difference in their ability to break out the puck, stretch out the other team, and transition, which we know that all 4 lines are very good in transition.
Yeah, that's been the breakouts this season has been an Achilles heel for this team so far. Basically what 19, 20, 28 games in they've played now so far.
Yeah, it's certainly been an issue. The last issue that we're going to talk about, the injury bug has crept in a little bit. Jack Eichel has missed the last
4.
He missed the third period of Boston, or third period of Detroit, all of Boston and the Rangers. They said he didn't even skate, and that they won't really have an update, and Coach Cassidy won't have an update until he skates. But they've handled that well. Alex Pietrangelo, we didn't know anything for a long time. I have a fresh update on Alex Pietrangelo's situation. Ready?
Okay.
It's nobody's fucking business. Okay? I saw somebody write online somewhere that the Golden Knights owe the fans an explanation for why Alex Pietrangelo is off for personal reasons. Let
I
me
don't
tell you
think-
something.
no,
They don't know you fuck all.
They don't know. There's no
Okay.
explanation needed. It's a personal matter, and
It's a
that's
personal
exactly-
matter, and
and that's how it
all
should
you
be
better
handled.
all you better do is hope, and if you're a praying person, pray that everybody's going to be all right. You know, I'm sure he doesn't want to miss 5 games, right? He's a gamer. And I was really, really offended by somebody saying, hey, I'm a season ticket holder. I pay their salary. I'm entitled to know. And it wasn't who you think it was, just between you and I. But
I don't
but
even
how
know who
did-
you're talking about.
It
You said
isn't
a
the
season
guy.
ticket. You said a season ticket holder.
It is a season ticket holder.
Where's he said?
That I don't know.
Okay.
But he's a friend of Bill Foley's. Just ask him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't, Anyway, so Petrangelo's missed 5. Eichel's missed 2 in a period. Still going up.
Howden was in the hallway last night on one of those little leg scooters, so he doesn't look like he's close to being back.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I went over to the Ranger locker room after the game to kind of commiserate with Gallant and ask him why he didn't wear his lucky blue suit.
Right.
And while I was back there, Howden was on, one of those little scooters where you kind of keep your leg off the ice and you
because you got an ankle or something.
Right. And he was out there talking to Zibanejad, who had a really good game last night too. By the way.
So Howden's not close.
Well, not based upon what I saw his mode of transportation, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, it's next man up. Unfortunately, next man up last night didn't work out real well. They I think we were both astonished. I think you and I spent more time on our phones checking our messages than watching the end part of that game.
It was hard. It wasn't a good game to watch.
And we've seen a lot from Coach Cassidy, and we've heard a lot from Coach Cassidy, and we both very much admire his frankness in how he evaluates the game. And last night he was pretty brief, and he said that his club was immature.
Really? And see, I had gone across the hall, so I didn't see Cassidy's comments or hear them. I did walk past him as I was leaving. He was coming out of his presser.
Must have been hot.
He did not look happy.
He said that they were immature.
What do you think he meant by that? Immature? Did they
the cavalcade of penalties in the third period, a 10-minute misconduct for Stevie, just the fact that
they were frustrated too, though. I mean, and the score was what? The score was 5-1 at that point.
The fact is, and I think I have the quote, and hopefully we'll be able to put it up. When we were under duress on the road, we responded, and when we were under duress here, we didn't, and it got stuck up our ass.
He said that?
Yeah.
He said stuck up our ass?
Yeah, that was absolutely not me embellishing a quote. That was his opening salvo.
Wow.
And he also made mention of a couple of calls that he thought were pretty shoddy. There was one in Boston late in the period, and the Shea Theodore slash at the end of the second last night that we're still looking for.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it, and nobody on the row where we were sitting were like, who did he slash at the 20-minute mark of the period? But they wilted last night. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, they wilted. They become. I think they came unglued a little bit. I mean, now people. On the drive home, I heard somebody complaining about Colasar taking a penalty, which matched up with Goudreau after he bumped into Theodore and then knocked the net and pretty much collided into Logan.
Well, you and I asked you about it.
I like that penalty. I like the fact that somebody hits your goaltender, bumps into your goaltender unnecessarily or on purpose. I think there needs to be a response.
Wait. Yes. But let me ask you this. Which Lindgren is it? Is it Ryan? Anyway, Lindgren, the defenseman of the Rangers last night.
Who cross-checked Stone?
Cross-checked Stone and sends him folded up like a pretzel to the bench.
There was no response to that.
No response. That's
Right.
your captain.
I know.
Right?
But
you just said you like the penalty for Kolesar, covering for Shea Theodore. But where's the response for Mark Stone?
Well, Mark Stone took his own response.
He took a quality batting practice swing at him.
As you said, he got his money's worth.
He definitely did. But my question to you is, if you like the penalty, and I kind of agree with you on the Kolesar thing, that guy absolutely ran Theodore through the post from behind.
Right.
But how come nobody responds to Mark Stone? Mark Stone, who had back surgery, right? The captain, the gamer, right? Gets folded up like a pretzel, right? Almost has to be pushed off the ice. I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah, there was
no response.
There was no response. I mean, Kolesar's response was good, and then as soon as they came out of the penalty box, they dropped the gloves, and it was a
congratulations. And as you clearly for his first win in a fight.
I was going to say you clearly said I actually got to give Kolesar the win on that fight.
He got the W, and he stood up for his guy.
He did, but there was a great point by you. There was no response for what happened to Stone, none whatsoever. And I'm taking a penalty there. You're not going to do that to the captain of the team, and it goes. Nobody just does anything about it.
I don't care if I get my ass beat in a fight.
It's the response. It's not the reason.
I'm defending the captain.
It's not the result of the fight. It's the response, which is important and makes a statement that if I do that, I'm gonna have to respond, and somebody's gonna take me to task about it.
There's a receipt coming.
Exactly.
Right? And I guess we should probably go there a little bit, and I'll frame it this way. They still haven't found anything on the third line, right?
Yeah, the third line has been their albatross so far this year.
It's the bugaboo. I feel like, and I said this a couple episodes, I feel like they're going to make a trade, and I feel like, this team, and we said the same thing when they sort of disbanded the meat grinders, and then they traded Ryan Reeves. The team has no real sandpaper and no real grit, right? And that Liberty last night, I mean, teams have got to look at it like, if no one's gonna cash my receipt for doing this, we're gonna keep
doing it.
We're gonna keep doing it. I was talking, actually, I didn't see you after the game, but I was talking with Chris Chapman of Fox Sports. And we were talking about, people that we'd like to bring in that would put a little grit to the team.
Who was your suggestion?
He brought up Max Domi. And who's on a decent deal for not a lot of money. And my thought was, another brother, I can't remember which one is which. The right-handed shooting defenseman in Vancouver. It's either Luke Shen or the other one. But he's 6'4", 220, not a huge expected upside, but somebody who will answer the bell. And the team is soft. I guess that's where I'm going with this whole yabbly thing. You got Marchessault fighting. You got your 30-goal scoring.
I've always said that Marchie's the heart and soul of this team.
Right. But they don't have anybody to collect receipts and settle scores.
Absolutely, you're absolutely correct. None, zero. And then when they let go of Reeves, that's what they lost.
I mean,
everybody complains that Reeves, he doesn't. Yeah, he's a tough guy. He stands up for play, but people think he's a liability on the ice. I'm not sure he's a liability. I think he's an asset, whether he's sitting on the bench or on the ice.
The fear factor alone, right? The fear factor alone prevents teams from taking liberties. And it became a great, I mean, it goes under the bads that we're talking about. You know, this team, you can't say needs to toughen up because it's just not their identity. They're not a grit team like they were when Coach Gallant was here, right? They became a finesse team and a speed team. And while they've had some success, they've also had some failures. But I feel like, and again, not to be repetitive, I feel like a trade's coming. I mean, you had a line out last night with Phil Kessel, with Jake Lecision, and Ronberg.
I was just going to say that they need to find somebody to play with Phil.
I mean, Amadio's not doing the job.
He's just floundering.
Yeah,
he's a good player, but he can't do it all.
Yeah, I mean, he's and no disrespect to the young kids, right? They're learning their way and they're learning how to become NHL players. But you know, this is their Achilles heel right now.
Their third line is their Achilles heel. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and probably when Jack Eichel comes back, Wah will move up and Cotter will move alongside, and it probably, I suspect it would look like Cotter, Wah, and Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
Right, and then the fourth line will be Carrier, Colasar, and X. Howden, Amadio, a trade candidate, Lecision.
Yeah.
Right. Something like that.
I think bringing Cotter and Wah down to play with Phil or up to play with Phil, either way you want to look at it, has to help him. It absolutely has to. It won't hurt because he right now he's almost invisible.
Yeah,
and it's not his fault that he's invisible. He's got no help.
No, it's not his diminishing skills at 35. He still skates like the wind. He's still got a wicked shot, and he's still a great passer. But he's out there on, he's out there on an island. He's getting no help. He's got what? He's 5-5 through 28 games. I think.
Yeah, they said when they brought him in, he was here to replace the goals that were going to be missing from Pacioretty. That has not happened.
The only reason that it's happened is because Pacioretty hasn't played yet.
No. But he hasn't played and got hurt, which he did every time he played for the Knights. He was played 3 games, out 4 games, played 6 games, out 2 games. In and out of the lineup.
So there's a lot of good, but there for the first time there's some real bad that we've talked about. Let's talk about some things that are going on in the NHL. The Devils don't seem to be letting up. What happened? What did they start drinking?
21-4-1, and they have a goal differential of +39. That's pretty impressive. The only team that's got a bigger goal differential than the New Jersey Devils is the Boston Bruins, and I think they're like +47 goals, and they have 21. Their record's 21-3-1, and their only loss was the overtime. No, not their only loss, but the only loss at TD Gardens was the one to the Vegas Golden Knights on Monday night. And that's Boston is not surprising to me because they're a good team. They're surprising only because they started the season with a lot of guys on the injury list. Yeah. They got off to a good start. The other surprise of the league is the Seattle Kraken, who are basically only 6 points behind Vegas, but they have 3 games in hand. So if Seattle were to win their 3 games in hand, they're going to be in a virtual tie with the Vegas Golden Knights for the top spot in the Pacific Division. Tell me you're not surprised by that.
I'm not surprised, but I also don't think it's real.
You don't think it's real? Do you think the New Jersey Devils are real?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
You've tempered a little bit. I think the last time we talked about them, you thought they were for real.
You know that I dislike Lindy Ruff. I think he's a chicken shit coach.
Okay.
There's no doubt that they're playing well. But again, they are hampered by something they can do nothing about, and that's size.
A small team.
They're a small, fast team, and the game in the playoffs is not a small, fast man's game.
But you got to get to the playoffs first. So
right. No, they're going to get there. There's no doubt they're going to get to the
yeah,
playoffs.
they would have to go into a severe free fall
Right.
for them not to make one of the 16, well, actually one of the 8 spots in the Eastern Conference.
Whereas I would say I don't think that Seattle is anywhere near. I think they're playing way above their heads.
Okay.
Way. They were so bad last year. The enormity of their turnaround in this short a time, I think it's fool's gold. I mean, they have probably the Calder Trophy winner in Matty Beniers, right? They've got some other nice pieces, right? But the goaltending is still kind of suspect. I just don't quite think that they are. I don't think they're there yet. I would I'd say they're 50-50 at best to even make the playoffs, even though it's a third of the season in.
Really? I mean,
yeah, I think it's smoking. I think it's smoke and mirrors.
Well, the Calgary has not been playing well. Edmonton has not been playing well, and that's the reason why Seattle's where they're at.
And you fully expect Calgary to get their head together.
There's a lot of rumors going around that Sutter has lost the room, and a lot of players don't want to play for him anymore.
Really?
So, oh yes, I read that. I'm trying to think where I read that from, a pretty reputable source too. That things are not as peachy as they should be in Calgary. I mean, Calgary had a great season last year. Won the Pacific Division. Unexpectedly got beat by Edmonton though, which is
yes,
yeah. But yeah, from what I understand, there's some rumblings going on in Calgary, and they lost 2 good players too, by the way.
Yeah, but they also they
picked up Huberdeau.
They got Huberdeau and they got the defenseman.
Right.
So they didn't do too terribly bad in that trade.
And they picked up Kadri also, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
who's the breakout star in the NHL
this year?
Yeah.
Are you going to talk about the kid in Buffalo?
Yeah, how could you not?
I know.
How could you not? He's 6'6", 230 some pounds. He had an
incredible night last night.
Well, wait, yeah. Before that, he either had he had a 6-point game against the Red Wings and a Hattie. Last night he had 4 goals in the first period, a natural hat trick, 5 total, and 6 points. Tage Thompson is who we're talking about. If you're not like watching NHL like we do,
a U.S. born kid too,
and they. It was funny was I was watching a little bit of the TNT pregame show, and Tocchet said I had it wrong. Said I thought they gave him the money too soon.
A lot of guys had it wrong.
A lot of guys.
Even Darren Millard said he had it.
Darren Millard said he was way straight missed that one. but here's something, and I guess it's probably funny in the context of it's a national game and they don't watch the Vegas Golden Knights as much as we do. But I think that Ace, Anson Carter, said Tage Thompson for Jack Eichel straight up.
No.
And I'm thinking, wait a minute. What planet did that thing come out of?
Buffalo is never going to take him back.
No. But I think he was talking about I don't think he was talking about the teams. I think he was talking about the players.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, but they talk about, you can never go back home. Well, that applies to Jack. That applies to Jack Eichel.
He can go home and sit in the other people's locker room. But Tage Thompson, man, you got to think he's an MVP candidate
as of now.
I mean, we're talking about for right now. He's carrying the team. He's unbelievable. I mean, he's fun to watch.
Right.
I mean, he's got magic hands. He's a big guy. Plays good with his body.
Okay, I'm going to run a question by you. You just said he's MVP of the team. Right now, today, who's the MVP of the Vegas Golden Knights so far this season?
Jeez.
I know there's a tough choice. I mean, there's two players that jump out at me.
Eichel
and Carrier.
Carrier is the most improved player and the biggest surprise.
Yeah, but right now, those two players.
But the fact that the most valuable player to the team is the fact that Jack Eichel is Jack. First of all, it's Jack Eichel because it's the Jack Eichel that we traded for in the dark. We had no idea whatsoever what we were going to get post surgery or anything like that. But the fact that he had that full summer to train and that he's come back and he's averaging just over a point a game, and it's the Jack Eichel that they traded for. He's the best player that the Golden Knights have ever had.
Yeah. Now, did you see how he got hurt? It looked like it was a non-contact.
I think it was non-contact contact. I feel like he tweaked a groin or a hammy.
Okay.
Something like that. I wasn't motivated enough to go to practice to see if he was there or not. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm 99% sure it's non-contact.
Okay.
So that's going to wrap up a fast-moving episode 45 of Hockey Nights in Vegas. I should shout out my good friend Dr. John Pierce, who I took the best picture of in the history of.
He had pretty good seats last night.
He had pretty good seats. He was right there giving the guys
by the penalty box, right?
In the Rangers penalty box. He was giving them the business. So I went and I saw Dr. Pierce yesterday at Ageless Forever, www.agelessforever.net. And he shows me this thing. This gizmo is called the Phoenix. And if you know anything about ancient mythology, the Phoenix rose from the ashes. Well, this Phoenix looks a little bit like an SR-71 bomber. And it will, not magically, but it's designed to give you the maximum rise in your manhood. And it is an electronic device. It creates an ultrasound. It's an ultrasound sort of thing. Basically, like the best way to explain it is if you have a heart attack, it's because your blood vessels and things like that are clogged. They're either clogged with plaque or sugar or all kinds of strange stuff. But the heart attack happens because you have restricted blood flow to your heart. Well, if the shaft of your hockey stick is too wimpy, that means that the blood vessels in your penis, they're not working that well. It means they could be clogged up, or they could be, they could have stuff in them. So enter this Phoenix. The Phoenix ultrasound device is a simple, non-invasive treatment. And basically what it does is it clears out all the blood vessels in your manly man. And if all the vessels in your manly man are fully cleared out, and healthy, you can get the maximum amount of blood flow in your junk. And with the maximum amount of blood flow in your junk, you get the biggest version of your junk. And you get the thickest version of your junk. And ladies, your man will have the hardest version of his junk, simply because the most available blood is down there. This is an incredible device. It certainly sounds a lot better to me than taking a needle in my junk just to get listeners, like I said before. You can get it through Dr. Pierce at www.agelessforever.net. It's called the Phoenix. You can also go to their website, getmyphoenix.com, www.getmyphoenix.com. We have a discount code for you. You can get $150 off. That's right. Use the discount code AGELESS150 for $150 off the Phoenix. Ladies, I encourage you highly to get this for your man. This is the Christmas gift that will keep on giving. And when I mean keep on giving, I'm talking about for years and years and years. The device is the greatest thing that's going to happen to your love life and to his junk, because the better his junk is, the happier you're going to be. So ladies, spend the dough. It's worth it. I know you want to get him slippers, or maybe you want to get him a tie, or any of that other stuff that's all traditional Christmas bullshit. This here, the Phoenix at getmyphoenix.com, or my friend Dr. John Pierce at Ageless Forever, www.agelessforever.net. This is the gift that you want to get for yourself, and you can get it for your man, and you can make yourself, you can make your relationship even better. So get it. And discount code ageless150 gets you $150 off, but it's only for a limited time. So ladies, if you're looking for a Christmas present, actually, we're going to post the link to it. I'm going to make them post the link to this incredible thing. Ladies, buy it from your man. Buy it from agelessforever.net. That's it. Episode 45 is over. The Golden Knights have our dear friend John Tortorella coming to town tomorrow night. I'm excited to go to the visitors' room.
Are you going to walk across the hallway tomorrow
I think I'm going to walk across the hall just because I've never been to a Torts post game.
They are entertaining,
and I'm excited to see that. And then on Sunday at 5:00, ladies and gentlemen, the Boston Bruins come to town for a little rematch. So if you're a Golden Knights fan, there's some pretty must-see hockey coming up this Sunday afternoon at 5. Joe, that's going to wrap up episode 45. Our thanks, as always, to Anthony Curtis at the Las Vegas Advisor, www.lasvegasadvisor.com, your key to everything Las Vegas. What do you want to say, Joe?
And we should remind our listeners to please visit our other sponsor, Roma Deli on Spring Mountain between Lindell and Jones, for a delicious Italian meal. Maybe you can do that Sunday. Sunday is always macaroni and meatball day. Maybe we go over to Roma Deli and get some
pregame,
some spaghetti.
Maybe we do
meatball.
A pregame.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to talk more about Roma Deli. And if we can actually figure it out, we're going to do a broadcast from Roma Deli.
We are.
We absolutely are. And so that's it. We'll see everybody in a week.
Take care, everybody.